then certainly symptoms that later on included suicidal ideation and also what she said were dark or intrusive thoughts to harm her children that she mentioned to her husband and her mother on, I think, 2 occasions.
And Doctor, you also mentioned that it was unusual that the voice stopped after Callan was killed. Why is that unusual?
Well, I've worked with, compared to other patients that I've treated who have had command auditory hallucinations.
I'm going to object to that, Your Honor. Same objection as raised before.
Counsel, can I see it?
Doctor, based on your training and experience in dealing with diagnosing and treating people who have psychosis and what you've learned in all your training and schooling, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice only one time, never before, never after?
No.
And again, based on your training and experience, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice that's constant rather than intermittent?
No, that is not typical.
And what does it mean, the difference between a constant voice and an intermittent voice?
Well, an intermittent voice would come and go. It wouldn't necessarily just keep playing over and over again as if it were on a tape, which Ms. Clancy told me that it was a voice. It's the same thing in the same tone, repeated over and over and over until she had strangled Callan.
And is it typical, based on your training and experience, for someone to hear command hallucinations and then for them to stop abruptly?
No. Committing the act is not curative of the voice. I've not ever seen that.
And Doctor, based on your training and experience, someone in psychosis hearing a voice without accompanying delusions, is that typical?
That is that would be pretty rare. It's absolutely not typical.
And in talking to Ms. Clancy, did you speak to her about the concerns she had that if she had voiced thoughts of harming her children to providers, medical providers, that her children would have been taken away?
Yes.
And did you see that as a delusional thought?
No. Certainly with the requirements that healthcare professionals have to report any issues that could cause harm to children, for example, as required reporters, it's very rational for her to be concerned that by voicing her thoughts of harm could cause her children, certainly an assessment and a rapid assessment and a determination about how best to keep the children safe. So I didn't see that as irrational, but rather rational, just understanding the healthcare system.
And when reviewing the records and speaking to Ms. Clancy, did you see or notice any delusional statements or beliefs surrounding the hearing of that voice on the 24th?
No, I didn't.
Now, based on your training experience, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice and immediately act on it?
No.
And why is that?
I'd like to have a Dover hearing at this point, Judge, on this. This is I'd like to test his qualifications. To
I'm going to, same objection, same ruling.
So your opinion is it's not typical, correct?
Correct.
Now, you mentioned the defendant told you that when she received the call from her husband at 5:33 and called him back at 5:34, that she was getting dinner ready for her children, correct?
Yes.
And did she tell you what she was about to get out of the refrigerator?
Yes. She said she was at the refrigerator and that the refrigerator door was open and that she was getting chicken nuggets out of the refrigerator section for her children.
Now, in your collateral interview with Patrick Clancy, did you learn from him that when he left the residence, the children were already eating chicken nuggets on the couch?
Yes.
And did Patrick Clancy tell you that Dawson in particular was eating chicken nuggets and green beans out of a bowl on the couch?
Yes, that's what he told me.
And is it fair to say that there are crime scene photographs showing a bowl on the couch?
Yes.
And so is there any significance to you in the defendant telling you that when she got the phone call from Patrick, when he's at CVS, that she's making chicken nuggets versus Patrick and telling you that that had already happened and the crime scene photos showing you the bowl was already on the couch?
Well, it's inconsistent.
And are inconsistencies like that important in your evaluations in cases like this?
Yes.
And how so?
Well, looking at someone's mental status at the time of an offense, it's important to understand what was going on in their mind at the time. And in this case, the widely divergent reports from Lindsay Clancy versus her husband Patrick raise questions about what she is telling me and how things are happening. So certainly that's a cause for significant concern. One of them is not correct in their statement.
And in terms of what you testified about earlier about the defendant giving you one version of what the voice told her and giving Dr. Spinelli a different version of what the voice told her, is there any significance in your evaluation to that?
Yes.
And what is that?
Well, again, it's markedly inconsistent. Ms. Clancy was very clear with me about the time that the voice started and that it was constant for a period of time until the children were killed, and then it stopped. And according to Dr. Spinelli's report, Ms. Clancy stated that the voice started much, much earlier, actually when Patrick Clancy left. And so we're talking about a significant difference in time. And those two just they don't match. So it's hard to which version is the one that I should consider.
Now, further along in your analysis, you talk about Ms. Clancy's outward portrayals misleading her family and providers. What do you mean by that, and what did you see in the records and in your interview of her?
Yes. Well, in looking back at her history, for example, with Patrick. She dated Patrick when she was in nursing school, and that was at a time that she was experiencing fairly significant anxiety, according to her, such that she went to a psychiatrist and was treated for her anxiety with Prozac and Wellbutrin, and also propranolol. And this was for a fairly significant period of time during their dating, approximately a year. And